Mark, we're here tonight to talk a little bit about your career after your recent milestone of 250 appearances for the club. You've been here almost 8 years now, many memories, lots of highs and lots of lows, and we're going to dissect some of them now, and we'll bring up the first of those memories when you joined the club back in the summer of 2015. If you want to speak a little bit about, your time leaving Ballymena and then making the move to Carrick, signing for Gary Haver, and those first periods and those first times as a Carrick Rangers player.
It's funny, I always go back to sort of whenever I signed for Gary. Gary had been on the phone with me, and football wasn't really at the forefront at that time. He said, "Look, Sergi, come up," and I laugh at this, to give it a season, see what you think. So yeah, come up, loved Gary as a player when he was at Ballymena, and played with him, and sort of a really good role model for a lot of us at Ballymena, captain of the team. And when he gave me a call, I thought, yeah, definitely want to be part of it, but just give me a couple of weeks, Gary. And then I got back to him to say, yeah, we'll come up, and that was it really. Off we went, and it's been quite the journey to now.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember making your debut as well right at Dundram?
No, I don't. Now hold on. Did we win 2-1?
Yeah.
I do remember it actually. Great to get off the mark in that game. It's my first game for Carrick. I can't remember, did we go 2-0 up, possibly?
Yeah.
Did Aaron Harmon score?
No, I think it was Miguel scored twice that day. I think
I cut that bit out if Maggie scored twice. He probably still talks about that. No, I do remember the change room after absolutely buzzing, because it was the first year up and it was vital we got off to a good start. So no, I do remember that really, really good. So a great start to my career at Carrick.
What was it like at that time, coming into the change room after you'd spent such a long time at Ballymena, and it was really, I suppose, maybe not the first time, but the first time in a while that you changed clubs?
It was not knowing many, if any, players that were there, and pretty much a lot of the team that had come up had stuck around, and Gads had stuck with them, knowing they were good enough because they had a super season the year before. It didn't take long to fit into that changing room. There was a lot of characters, funny, strange, weird, but just a really good bunch of lads. And it didn't take long to gel in and find your place within it. And there were no cliques, so just everyone seemed to be very, very together. So no easy change room to get into, and as the year went on, we became very, very close. Everyone sort of dug in for each other, and training was good fun. I actually remember the pitch used to flood when we had to pull the covers over there. I remember quite a vivid memory of more training than the matches, but I can remember that year just as a roller coaster every year, and I suppose it went right to the very wire, and that sort of summed up the season we had. It was just an absolute roller coaster of a year, many, many highs and a few lows, but I think it was a very successful first year for Carrick, and a year that we still have a WhatsApp group from that team that actually Gary put together, and I think that was Gary's last year with that group, and we're still very, very close, everyone in that group, and all different clubs now, but we still fondly remember that year we had at Carrick together. So not a great year. Debut, not so much remembering of it, but the things that happened through that year were wild and wacky, I suppose wonderful, but and then I'm sure you're going to come on to the final day, which
that's going to be the next photo that we're going to come to now, that final day at home to Ballinallard. I mean, everything was on the line for us. We knew that we had the win to stay up. We went 1-0 down, and that looked like that was going to be the final result until those mad last few minutes.
I honestly wanted probably my most watched football video. I still would watch that. When I talk to people about it, I'll show them it, and something that comes up around the anniversary of it being that day, it's just bizarre. I think we could have been out of it. They had a couple of good chances. Laffer had a good chance. The big lad played up front, big skinny head fella, had a great chance. He fluffed his lines, and then I'm pretty sure somebody died for a free kick. We got a free kick. I scored. I keep on forgetting actually that I scored, and then just mayhem. Ben Roy crossed the ball. Aaron Trainer back post, headed it back across, and then Maggie's overhead kick. And I think the whole place just went mental. I vaguely remember, was there those sort of vuvuzela things there that day? The noise was, it was deafening and annoying at the same time. But when that went in, it was just, again, Maggie still lives off that goal. What only he could have scored that. But I remember the celebration. Maggie sort of falls to the ground, and I think the rest of the team run over to celebrate. And we're all like that. I grabbed the ball, I think, and throw it down that gap behind the net to try and waste time. And then it was just pandemonium. Great, went down to the bar after, it was unreal. I think I left my car in Carrick that night. But no, what an end to a fantastic season with a great bunch of lads.
In terms of footballing moments, in your career, where would that rank
top.
in terms of
Top, without doubt, top. I don't think I'll ever feel that elation. Football, it's just so hard because I've been down, what it meant, what was on the line, and how late we scored. Unreal. No, that'll take a lot to top that. There's still time left, I think.
And you mentioned yourself that you sometimes forget that you scored the first goal. I suppose a lot of people, maybe everyone will remember Miguel's goal, but you actually scored the header that got us back into it, gave us that belief to go on.
Someone actually, I remember that they were shouting for offside, and I remember the referee saying if Dan Kelly had touched it, who jumped in front of me, he would have been offside. I just remember closing my eyes and trying to head it as hard as I could because it was quite flowy, and I went just above the keeper's hands as he went for it. But no, what a day. One of my few goals, but definitely one, I forget it in that match context, but definitely one that I will remember.
We'll move on now to another big occasion that followed in the next season, a League Cup final, the club's first League Cup final, and you captained the side against your former side, your hometown side in Ballymena.
Aaron Callaghan, manager, yeah. Again, such a poor year that year. Beat Glenavon, I think, 1-0 in the semi-final. Worst, honest, I speak about this quite often actually, probably one of the worst days in terms of, all I was nervous for the whole day, and I couldn't wait till the match was over. So I didn't really enjoy it that much, the occasion. Even though we lost, it wasn't like a sense of feeling down or low. It was nearly a case of I'm glad that's over. I don't know why. Maybe it was the build up to it was quite big. I remember the cameras coming into school, I teach in a school, Collybaggy, just outside Ballymena. Me being from Ballymena, having played for Ballymena, there was a little bit of hype about it, and a lot of my mates been Ballymena fans. I've never been really nervous that day. Yes, I probably did enjoy the build up, but nerves was the main sort of the feeling I had throughout that whole day in the evening. We didn't play particularly well. We could have maybe snatched something towards the end, but no, a proud moment, definitely a proud moment. Enjoyed parts of the build up to it, and yes, looking back now, when you get that close to winning something as big as the League Cup, I suppose a little bit of regret was maybe didn't embrace it a bit more and have that hunger. I did have the hunger to win it, obviously you always do in a match, but I do remember the overriding feeling that day being more nerves. It was Friday evening. Was it a Friday evening kick-off or a Saturday evening?
Saturday evening, yeah.
Saturday, it was quite a weird kick-off time too. Was it 5:30 or was it 4:45 or so?
It was 5:30.
Maybe, so all day to think about it, and all day to worry about it and stress about it. But no, definitely a proud moment. But one that I look back with it was nerves. I think was more my part that day, and we had so much disruption. I think to that team. I think someone pulled out just before kick-off. He was meant to play left back, and it was Conor McCluskey, I think, scored a goal for Ballymena. There's just everything nothing really clicked that night, and that is disappointing, I suppose. But no, a proud moment to get that far with Carrick.
We'll jump forward to the end of that season. Then obviously Aaron had
the Fabster.
Aaron had left. Aaron Callaghan had left the club, and we went into a playoff against Institute, which we won over in 2 legs. And as you mentioned, Fabio O'Brien, I think, scored twice in that.
He scored a penalty, didn't he? Did he dink the penalty down the middle?
Yeah.
Like he was only here for a short time. What a fella, and what class he had. Always wore the gloves with the shirt, whether it was rain, hail or snow. Paddy, Mitch, yeah, it's strange too. I couldn't have named many people from that playoff game, but no, great to win. It was, I think we drew 1 each down there. Did Ben Roy win a penalty, or did he hit a penalty, or?
I can't remember who won. I think Martin Murray scored the penalty.
Right.
From memory.
And then 3-1 at home.
Yeah, that would have been Stephen McCulloch, and then
Stevie was here, yeah.
twice, yeah.
Funny, I seen that Stevie was the Ballymeen's longest serving player, and that must have been after he left us after that season. But again, it wasn't a great season. Very, very chop and change. People came and went, but I suppose it ended in a high. Vaguely remember that, but I do remember Fabio O'Brien going, you know, that lad's a bit of class. And he took us 2 goals. No, great end to what was a difficult season, I suppose.
Yeah, it must have been, you know, great relief as you've talked about. There was a lot of disruption and, you know, not very settled at all that season, but
Look,
this has just been relief.
We spoke about it this year. This is the first year we've put into the split without having to look over our shoulder. It's probably my first time we haven't actually went to the last game or a playoff without having to have that fear of going down. But no, that was a great occasion to stay up. Definitely was. It's massive for the club to stay in the league. And no, I don't remember much about that night. I just remember Fabio scoring the 2 goals and thinking to myself, you know, not everyone would have scored the goals they did score, and the calmness he brought to that team.
We'll go from the elation of a playoff victory to the depression of a relegation against Newry. I mean, that was just a real low point, you know, from the position we were in the league, where we'd won our last 2 games against Glentoran and Warren Point, I think it was, you know, they'd get off the bottom, the 12th spot to get to the playoff, you know, to then actually get relegated in that playoff was...
And then to go to Newry, it's a funny one for me. Davey was in charge at that time. Davey and I the last 5 games of the season, I don't know if a fallout was the right word to put it, but there's 3 or 4 of these sort of left out of the squad in the build up to that. And I remember, actually, after that game, so I had been at work all day, I went down and I wasn't in the squad, and I remember standing after he gave his team talk, Davey after his team talk, and I don't remember this, but I met him 2 days later about why I wasn't playing, and I wanted to obviously try and help the team in the next match, and he said that my attitude wasn't right because I yawned after his team talk. This was at 10:10 at night. I hadn't hardly had a bite to eat. I'd been working all day, and I sort of thought, sure, there's more to it than the yawn, why I'm not playing, but that was it. It was a topsy-turvy season. Davey was looking for answers, wasn't finding it from maybe more of the senior players, and I maybe fell foul of that. But no, I think actually went 1 or 2 up in that, down at Newry, and then we came down here. We lost, disappointing, massive disappointment, a lot of question marks over everyone at that time, I think, and it was a poor showing for the club, from the club. But again, it was something maybe in hindsight needed to go down to feel that pain to make our way back.
Yeah, we maybe didn't think we would come back up as soon as we did, as we look at the next photo. You know, Niall comes in after Davey leaves, and that summer there's a real rebuild of the squad, a lot of change around the club off the pitch as well, and we didn't get off to the best of starts that season either. But
I was going to say,
what a finish.
If you'd have shown, well, obviously you couldn't have shown me that picture, but after our first 4 games, I don't think we had won a game, and we conceded nearly 20 goals. We lost 5 here to Dundela. No, so after the first 4 games, that picture probably wasn't possible. But again, I look around that special group of players. Jiggers, there's some there that I even forgot played. There's Rister in the back beside Mickey Smith. Big Denver was with us that year too. Again, good bunch of lads. Reece Neal. That great. We had a real feeling that year that no matter, after the first 4 games we went on a run, no matter what was going to happen, we were going to win the game. There's so many times we were 2-0 down, come back and won 3-2, and 1-0 down, come back and won 2-1. I think we went on 19 games or without defeat or something. We seemed to be in cloud 9. We were flying. But again, I think Lauren won it that year, quite convincingly, and we were always us and Portadown, and then that was second play third. So we played Portadown, but the weird thing was we actually played them in the last game of the season too, and I think we beat Portadown convincingly. We actually won the playoff pretty convincingly. Maybe the first half, the first match, we weren't great, but no, that was again probably second to the staying up in the last game of the season. That was an amazing night. I think I scored in that game, did I? Scored a header in the second leg.
Second leg, yeah.
No, amazing season. Just we felt invincible in that league. Maybe we drew with Portadown. Did we beat not Portadown? Sorry, Larne. Did we beat Larne that year too?
We learned twice. So
Beat Larne
at home both times.
So we great bunch of lads. A very very young squad. I think a Nile team. There's a lot of changes, but it worked out for the best. And no, great night. That was down at Clandyboy, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, great night.
And as you talked about after, the couple of seasons before that were really tough, and just staying on this, the championship season, going on that sort of run and getting, that promotion, it really lifted the spirits around the club and really revitalised us in a way, didn't it?
I did, that's what I mean. We went down that year and it was doom and gloom, and to come up so soon, I'm not sure, I'm sure the club's targets were to try and to push to get up, which might have been sort of revised after the first 4 games, but no, to come back up, really give the club a boost of, right, we're up and this is where we want to stay. But no, amazing that we got up so soon, and the way we got up. Again, we lost that playoff against Newry the season before. We knew how low we felt then, but to win that one was, it sort of matched sort of how we played that year.
We've looked at some of the major moments of your time here. Next, we're going to look a little more generally at your teammates. I mean, I have no idea how many players you've played with during your time here. A lot, but what's it been like? Is it in the changing room with being the captain? For a time at the club as well. And you've made a lot of friendships with a lot of the players that I'm sure still carry on, even if some of them aren't at the club now.
Yeah, look, it's funny you mentioned that. I wouldn't like to sit down. I'm sure some stato would look down and see how many players. I couldn't even tell you how many managers, never mind players, but I look at those sort of snaps. There's Lloydie's still been there a long time with me. Big Dan Kelly comes and goes. And again, a very important player to us over the years. Over here, look, my car journeys have been, there's been more people who have travelled with me than most people have played with in their life. It's always been a case of new people that came every year. I've had a new car, pulls the whole way down. But I've loved it, and I've loved the crack, the banter, the sort of characters, the personalities that the new players have brought. There's been some absolute head to balls, there's some absolute rockets, but there's some real good characters I tend to stay in touch with. And a lot of them have came here and went round different clubs in the league, so to see them again is quite nice, and you always have a bit of a laugh and a joke with them. And the changing room, as small as it is, everyone has to sort of be quite close, and we've always had good change rooms, and I think that's a big part. Whenever we've lost a change room a wee bit, not managers, but whenever we've lost that togetherness, that's when we have been our most volatile, and we've sort of went in our slumps. And I think that's what this year we have a really strong change room in there with a lot of close friendships and no cliques. But no, looking at those pictures there, just some great fellas have came through, and how I'm still here, I'm not sure if I am. I think that bottom left picture I scored there, was that the free kick, Dungannon?
Yeah, free kick.
Yeah, wish you tried to take that off me that day, I'm glad I hit it. And I haven't hit another one since, so, well, I probably have, and that's why I'm not on them, but no, great bunch of lads. Been an absolute pleasure to captain a lot of them. I would like to get through actually look at the teams I've played with over the years to see the amount of players that I have played with, and some actually it's been that long, some have actually been here, left and came back, and I'm still here. I think Kyle Cherry was one. He took a wee dander away, then came back. And so no, brilliant. And a lot of talented boys there too. I've played with some crackers, some characters, some great footballers. Yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been a really humbling to sort of see these pictures here and see the amount of good lads you've actually shared a pitch with.
You've got to know a lot of people on the pitch, and looking at the next photo, you've got to know many of the fans and the people around the club as well. During your 8 years or so here, and you've built a lot of friendships with people. What do the fans and all the people around the club mean to you?
Oh, brilliant! That's probably a big reason why I'm still here. And I sort of forget how long I've been here, but it doesn't feel like 8 years, and that's sort of because it does feel like home from home. You go over to the dugout after a game, it's the usual slag and the boys ripping the bag out if you win, lose or draw, and the amount of support I've had from people, even gym service in the car. This the weird thing, the things you pick up with people and the things that people have done for you. the people at Carrick, we're not the biggest club in terms of fan base, but we're very, very loyal, and people do tend to look after. And it's the wee things, it's the, you know, how's the girls keeping, how's Pamela keeping, how's. And it's those wee things, because you are so close, they know you personally, not just by name, but they know you by family, and they know a lot about you. So it's been, you know, they're super, and it's the loyals. I've been here 8 years, and the same faces have been here 8 years, and that's sort of, they help clubs like this function. Many, look at that, many volunteers, boys I've seen out there lifting rubbish, cleaning pitches, doing everything. You know, it's the same faces that you could probably paint that picture in 8 years. It's just got a little bit older. No, they've been super and done so much for me in my time here. Made me and my family feel very, very welcome, very, very comfortable down here. So no, it's the fans to every club. I suppose they mean a lot, but I'm sure, and I can't talk for other clubs, but you maybe look at a club like Linfield, and I'm sure there's some players there I'll never have known the names of any fan, but you can really get through that and name me all by first name. And I suppose that is the joys of being sort of a smaller club, so to speak. But I know the ambitions of this club is to get to the stage where we push on and those crowds get bigger. The success on the pitch gets bigger, and with success on the pitch does bring more fans. And I look forward to meeting any new fan that wants to come along.
People clearly hold a significance to you, but looking at the Nert's photo, I'm sure Taylor's Avenue, the ground, our home, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of special memories here.
Well, it always gets Taylor's Avenue from me. The Lochshore Arena doesn't roll off the tongue, I suppose, but it is. No, Taylor's Avenue. I can actually remember coming here years ago when I was about 16, 17. And did you used to get changed under the stand, or am I?
Well,
or was there a bar under the stand?
The old change room used to be the dugout where it was.
And the way one was just the first, and here they are. This side here, was there a bar? Was there ever anything under that stand? Was that called the dugout? So I remember, and it's just changed so much, and you can see the work going on around, even what we're here and sitting in now, and what's going on behind us, and the new stand. The leaps and bounds the club's come on in 8 years is unreal, and I know it'll still get viewed as clubs will go flipping Taylor's Avenue Friday night at raining down, hate that. But even the pitch, I remember first year and the second, the drain that went down the left hand side and the sogginess of that bottom corner, it was mental how games were able to be played on. And I know from speaking to Gaz the year before, played at Crusaders for a couple of years maybe before that, and then it was just an absolute mess. So no, the leaps and bounds of the grounds come on, and Taylor's Avenue, like I love walking in through that gate every Saturday and coming down to training. It does hold a special place in my heart, definitely.
Next up, we're taking a look at some very special people for you, Pamela and the girls. Without a doubt, your biggest supporters are, you know,
amazing.
Always there for you.
One thing that I'm massively proud of, and we spoke about in the change room the other day, and someone was talking about, you know, hate. Was it on the phone that I was talking to someone? But hate being a person that can't become affiliated to a club. So you go somewhere for 2 seasons, another place for 2 seasons. I love the fact that I've been here for 8 years, and the last 5 of them, Bella's been in my life, and the last 3, Bonnie's been in my life, and Pam's been here obviously the whole time, but they've actually come to watch me play for Carrick, so that really, really special. You know, they always argue over, because one's got the home top, one's got the away top, they always ask me what top we're wearing this Saturday, and that causes a lot of confrontation in the house. I've actually just called Craig today to see if we can get the hoodie for Bella. She's been at me for the past few weeks, and they love this place too, they love coming down. And actually meeting the other kids of the managers and players that have come down here, but no, they've been a massive support, and Pam has never once said to me, well, maybe until last week, need to wrap this up, but you know, there's never been any pressure from Pam to say, Mark, look, I think you're away every Tuesday night, you're away every Thursday night, you're away every Saturday, sometimes Mondays. There's never been a pressure put on me to put football to back burner, and even from the girls, like, you come in now, Bonnie, I'll ask you how you did today, and then she gets all grumpy if you lost, and you know, she'll want me to put on the BBC highlights, and I think that's a big part of why I still do it. I've always wanted my kids to grow up to see me playing football and knowing what I enjoy. I suppose I've learned over the years much better is not to take it home with me. And it is disappointing you lose a match on a Saturday, but I don't go into the house and throw the kit bag in the corner and sit down and not talk to anyone. We do talk a lot. She's a big football fan. She's loved that her dad was a massive football fan, and it's something that's always been in her life. So They supported me massively, and they continue to do so, and I like the fact that they want to be involved, and they really, again, the fans, the club, the board, everyone makes them feel really welcome every time they come down.
We'll get one final photo then. We've talked so much about your journey in football. We've talked so much about your journey in football and what you've done during your time here, but what do you think might come next? Have you even thought that far ahead yet? Or?
Well, I've been through my B licence. I'll finish it here soon, and it's something that I want to have to use if I choose to do that. And I don't know. There's part of me and I see the stress that the managers that have went through, and you look at them and you do, and what they say is right. Like, if we win as the players, we lose as the manager. What teams he's picking, how he's got things right and wrong. It's not. Stuart, he's probably right when he says managers at other clubs, the bigger the club, the more support you have. And I know Stuart is supported here, and he tells us regularly how well he's supported at this club. You know, but it's just 24/7. You know, with everything that's going on, and like, could I match some of the Stuart King's enthusiasm on what he puts on the table for us boys and what he puts on the table for this club? At the minute, I can't see it. I don't see how I could set time aside to do that. But I'm sure whenever Stuart was like me, he as a player, he never seen management that far forward. I do speak to the other boys in there. You know, the boys that are more mature, I suppose, about football and tactics and different things and what we watched the weekend, and I do love it. I love analysing games, and I love looking back at them going, did we get that right, did we get that wrong? I love learning about the game, and it's one of those things. I think management or coaching even, it's one of those things that sort of chooses you. You sort of get the call and go, right, I have to go into this, or I have to go and do this, or else I feel as if I'm not giving something back to the game. So no, the future after football is something I don't like thinking about, and don't mind talking about it, but I think whenever you finish, you have to fill that void, and how you fill that, I suppose, is managing and coaching. And your other option is you go and lift your golf clubs and get back out on the golf course on a Saturday or a Sunday, wherever it may be, but I dare say you miss a changing room. You just don't get that same banter, same highs, lows anywhere else than a football change room or a sporting change room, and that's something I know that I would miss and would need back into very, very quickly if I missed it a lot. So the future after football for me, I think, will be decided by what happens on the pitch at the minute, I suppose. I just want to keep playing for as long as I can.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's the case, Mark, and I speak on behalf of everyone of the club in congratulating you on your recent milestone of 250 appearances, and we look forward to seeing you out in the pitch for many more.
Well, I hope so too, and I'd like to say, take this opportunity to thank everybody at the club for my time here. It's been an absolute privilege to have played for Carrick, and it's something I'll speak of very fondly, no matter what happens. After football, after coaching, after management, it's been an absolute pleasure, and something I've really, really enjoyed, and long may it continue.
In goes the free kick. Oh, it's in the net! Surgenor has got the goal, the equaliser, but will it be enough? They know probably they need another one. In it goes. Not away yet. Chinez! His goal has won it, and what a goal it is. My goodness, what a comeback right at the death in injury time. Celebrations unbelievable as that ball came in, headed back, and how's that for a finish? Pick that one out. It's all over. Carrick have survived. Gary Haver, the manager, what a job he's done. They had to win the last two games, and his players have done just that. Wild celebrations here in Carrick. They will play Premiership football next season.